Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 4 Episode 3, Planet of the Ood. Okay, Planet of the Ood. This is a fantastic story. I know I've been saying that quite a lot recently, but this generally is a fantastic story. I should also probably get out the way now. This is an extremely political story. Oh, but Doctor Who wasn't supposed to be political before 2017. Cry! Except it always was political. It's been political since the first episode of The Daleks in 1963. Maybe even in An Unearthly Child, perhaps. But yeah, Doctor Who's always been political. And no, 2017 onwards was not a spike in it. People have just been getting upset for no reason. But anyway, Planet of the Ood. The plot sees the Doctor and Donna arrive on the Ood Sphere in the same system as the Sense Sphere from another Season 1 story. I mentioned the Daleks already. In the Sensorites. The Sense Sphere appeared in the Sensorites. And there's even a mention about this mention in the Sensorites DVD, although it's actually a bit cynical. Which is odd, considering that those DVD booklets for the classic series DVDs are usually positive, upbeat, open-minded, no matter what story, whether it's a firm favourite or a not very popular one at all. They keep an open mind for the majority of them, not unlike myself. But Sensorites was in the mention here, when they reflected on it, it was a bit of a cynical reflection. Anyway, so the Doctor and Donna, like I said, they're on the Ood Sphere, and they discover the Ood. First appeared in The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit. Although that story was written by Matt Jones, and this one by Keith Temple, these creatures were, of course, created by Russell T Davies. And I think he's got a bit of his hand on this story as well as Keith Temple, although Keith Temple was in fact an actual writer, not a pseudonym. But the Ood in The Impossible Planet, The Satan Pit, they didn't have a huge amount of personality or backstory between them. They were just this simple alien race that were easily manipulated by the Beast because they were telepathic. They had this low-level telepathicness, and there was a group known as Friends of the Ood, or Photo, beginning with an F, who could campaign for Ood's freedom, equal rights, or just be Friends of the Ood. But that's basically the basics. This time round, we get a lot more into the backstory of the Ood. There is a lot more going on. They're not just simple race that are made to serve, but they actually have more. There's actually quite a lot more to them than that initially thought so in the Series 2 two-parter, The Impossible Planet, The Satan Pit. No, there is a lot more going for them. So it's great to explore that with this story, where we get a bit of backstory into what they were like, what the company is, Ood Operations has done to them, and for the last 200 years, what everything's been like. And only now is things starting to change. So after encountering an Ood who had died after escaping following killing a man at Ood Operations, the Doctor and Donna then investigate Ood Operations to find out what's going on with the Red Eye, as it shows it's a red eye quickly at the Doctor and Donna quickly. So they have a look around Ood Operations. They get chatting with some of the Oods in a selling. There's a couple of people that they're trying to get to buy some Oods, some big sellers or big buyers, and the Doctor and Donna infiltrate those. And then after talking with the Ood a little bit, including some pretty comedy, where Selena, the PA woman, she does a demonstration of everything going around, and she demonstrates a couple of different types of Ood, including your normal Ood, and Oods that can make you feel less stressful after a long day at stressful work. That's quite funny. But the funniest one is the third one, the comedic Ood, doing a Homer Simpson style "do." Well, that wasn't a very good impression. "Do." That was a funny joke, especially as Matt Groening, the Simpsons creator, is a Doctor Who fan and regularly includes the Fourth Doctor as a cameo now and again. I'm not a Simpsons fan myself, I'm just aware of that fact, but it's pretty cool to have this little nod to the Simpsons because of their creator is a Doctor Who fan, and he has a nice couple of nods to just this show. Anyway, so the Doctor and Donna go off the beaten track and soon discover that the Ood aren't really as willing servants as they first appear, but are more slaves. And then later they discovered that the Ood were actually born with two brains, a hindbrain and a forebrain and a hindbrain, and they hold their hindbrain in their hands. And then the company cut off this extra brain and stitch on the translators. Ooh, horrible. And then they ship off the Ood to different worlds, and because of the translators, they've obviously cut off their telepathic field a little bit, some sort of one of the part of the telepathic field, and now they're kind of obedient to serve, apart from when they have Red Eye. And also Red Eye now also makes them go rabid as well. And it also turns out that there's a third brain, spoiler alert, it's a big twist. A third brain that sort of connects all of you together. It's a big brain that connects all you and the biggest telepathic circuit. But the company has built a circle around it that would prevent it from telepathicness to the other routes. And it would help sort of balance out between the first two brains about the signals. Otherwise, the two brains would be fighting out between each other. So the third brain sort of helps mend that. I suppose having one brain also helps fix that, but, you know, it's not very nice what happens to them. And if that wasn't bad enough, the leader of the company, the head of the company, Mr. Halpin, played by Tim McInnery from Blackadder, he's such a bastard. He is so mean. I mean, he sort of likes his Ood. At least he's kind to his Ood. Well, as kind as he is, because he's not a very nice person. He's quite rude to his Ood, actually. Come to think of it, but he's not. He's all right with him hanging around. It's not. He doesn't hate him, and he's even quite nice to him in some places. He's quite nasty to him in other places, but nice in other places. So yeah, but he's still a bastard. He is such a bastard character, as is the head of security, Mr. Kelvin. This head of security guy who at one point tries to kill or capture the Doctor using the big claw that takes the containers of Ood to the ships. That was a really epic, action-packed scene, and it pushed the Doctor's physical abilities to a new extreme. Mostly the running, but still having to run away from a big giant claw trying to grab him. That was some really great stuff. But yeah, he's a bit of a dick character, the head of security, and Zalana has the chance to become a good character. She has the chance to redeem herself, and she fails. So we get a bit of a sense of justice when these characters meet their respective fates. Zalana is zapped by the Ood. Orb Ball, Mr. Kelvin, I'm not sure if that's his right name, but the head of security, he tries to gas the Rabbit Ood and the Red Eye Dude, and they reference the foot and mouth disease, and then some of the Ood help the other Ood escape, and then they put him in the area, and he gets gassed. As for Mr. Halpin, the final couple of minutes towards the episode before, the climax, is a bit gruesome. It's a bit nasty. I'll get onto that. But he makes a pretty nasty fate. There's one other character called Dr. Ryder, but he's not so nasty. He's actually quite a nice guy. He's a bit timid. He's just trying to find out what's going on. But it turns out it was him who caused what was going on by lowering the psychic field around the brain so that it can then spread a message to the other Ood, which would then start a revolution through the Red Eyes and then the Rabbit Ood. And it turns out he's a member of Photo, and he's tried to infiltrate the company for 10 years and managed to succeed until he's murdered by Mr. Halpin by being thrown over the side and into the Ood brain. I wonder how that killed him, whether he was sucked into the brain or if he was crushed or something. Could actually being falling on top of a giant brain kill you? Maybe. I would definitely hear. It'd be a soft landing, but maybe it might have made more sense if it appeared that he'd been crushed by the size of the brain. I mean, the ending's gruesome enough as it is. This is the first 12-rated episode of the series since Tooth and Claw. So not only have we gone through the entirety of Series 3 without any 12-rated episodes, they've all been PG, but we've also gone through the rest of Series 2 without any 12 rated episodes. They've all been, again, PG, apart from Rise of the Cybermen, which was a U. That's the only U-rated story in this series. I'm sure there's a couple of other stories in this series that could have been a U. Partners in Crime was almost U territory, I think. And In the Forest of the Night as well, in Series 8, would be a U, in my opinion. Yeah, there wasn't any 12 stories rated stories between Tooth and Claw and Planet of the Ood. It's alright, the Capaldi and Whittaker years will more than make up for having lots of 12 rated episodes. I don't know why the BBFC decided to give half of them 12 ratings. Half of them, yes, but the other half, I think they could have been okay at PG. Anyway, the climax sees Mr. Halpin. Turns out he's been given Ood graft in liquid form rather than hair tonic by his faithful Ood Sigma, to turn him into a natural Ood. Oh, that's nasty. That's pretty nasty. Oh, gruesome. Oh, but this story does a really great job of building all of that up. It does a lot of great stuff build up. It knows what it wants to do, and it manages to achieve it perfectly. I also love the Doctor's comment when the Doctor and Donna go into the natural Ood containment area, where the guards, the officials are trying to break in, and Donna's worried about that, and the Doctor just says, let them, in response to saying the guards are coming in. He doesn't care whether they come in or not. He does not care. He is annoyed with them, and he's gonna make sure they pay for what they've done, especially after he finds out about the natural Ood. The Doctor and Donna are really great in this story, with some fantastic performances from Tennant and Tate, respectively. They do some amazing stuff, some brilliant work, and Donna even considers going home after listening to the Song of Captivity that the Oods have, that she can't hear normally, but the Doctor allows her, using a mind trick. But I think this might even be the first use of a mind trick since the McCoy years. But thankfully, the Song of Freedom is a bit more upbeat. And remember the Song of Freedom, if you've seen this episode, remember this tune. It's going to play again in a later episode in this series. But yeah, this one's quite a this one's quite a roller coaster. It's got its emotional moments as you start feeling sorry for the Ood. It's quite political in its anti-slavery story, political message, as well as some criticisms of capitalism. Not to say that the show is going into communist or fascist territory. They've criticised those as well. Look at the Cybermen and the Daleks, respectively. But it's not shy to criticise capitalism either. It can criticise anything it wants. So depending on what story it is, a writer can criticise or praise whatever they like, whether that's political or not. But in this case, there is some capitalist criticisms and slavery criticisms. But yeah, I like that. I think it works really well for the story, as it gets you to feel for the Ood. And I think that was needed for this for these alien races, especially not having much known about them in their first appearance. It was great to find out pretty much everything about them here, or almost everything at least. Actually, no, I think that was pretty much everything. And as well as ending this reign of terror and starting a new society from scratch with Ood Sigma as their leader. And it's also a really action-packed romp and exciting ride, and even got a little bit of comedy in there as well, and some really great moments. And just a magnificent story, just absolutely amazing. It's an amazing story, just handled really well. Fantastic writing. The execution is great. Yeah, there's a couple of stupid, panny, whizzy shots now and again. Well, not shots, transitions. Some of those stupid transitions, and there was some in Fires of Pompeii as well. By the way, I forgot to mention this in the Fires of Pompeii. After the titles, there's the camera zooms out, and I thought that was stupid. They didn't, because it's coming from the titles. The zoom out of the camera of Karen Gillan's character was a bit daft. They didn't need to do that. It should have just been a normal shot if it's transitioning from the titles. Back to Planet of the Ood. But Planet of the Ood is masterfully handled. It's masterfully put together. I think Graham Harper directed this episode. Oh, that makes sense. Graham Harper is probably one of Doctor Who's best directors. Classic and new series. I mean, Revelation of the Dark did have a couple of stilted shots of stuff. It could have been a bit better. But apart from that, I think it's 42 I thought could have been handled a little bit better. But that was still pretty great directing. Same for Time Crash. Everything else has been masterpieces in terms of directing. And even the ones I quickly slightly criticised just now, slightly. They're still really well directed by Harper, especially the new series ones. But yeah, he just does an absolute fantastic job and gives us an action-packed, emotional, character-driven, political romp of a ride. It's just an outright great story. It's also an important story to consider the placement of the Ood in this at this time of the series, as they will be important to the 10th Doctor towards the end of his life. And there's even the hint of his song ending soon, or at least at some point soon, in the next couple of years anyway, by Ood Sigma. And also the bees disappearing gets a reference here as well. But yeah, it's still a really great episode, and it's great to see Donna go to her first alien planet and getting all excited at the start. And it's just an outright brilliant story, and just an amazing episode, really well put together. I will be giving Planet of the Ood a 10 out of 10. Yeah, this one's just an absolute blast. This one's such a brilliant story. Really, really, really great. This story actually was lower down, in my opinion, before, as was Fires of the Pompeii, but they've gone really high up now, especially this episode. They've shot really high up. I've always liked Partners in Crime, but these two have shot in really high up. And Series 4, I think, has started even better than Series 3 had. I loved Series 3, and both first two episodes got a 9 out of 10 each, and the same for this series. And then the third episode for both series has got 10 out of 10, but I think Series 4 has slightly wound up Series 3, just by an inch. And I think that's partly due to, whilst I think Smith and James is still the best Russell T Davies series opener, Partners in Crime was such a great way to reintroduce Donna, so it was a great reintroduction to a character rather than a proper introduction. And Planet of the Ood is just absolutely amazing. I even think Fires of Pompeii is an improvement on Shakespeare Code. Is Planet of the Ood an improvement on Gridlock? Maybe, yeah. Though I still prefer Smith and James to Partners in Crime. But yeah, Series 4 has just, it's not only is it taken what series does what Series 3 did right, but it also ones up itself just by an inch, and I'm happy about that. I think this is a fantastic episode, and we're off to a really, really great start to Series 4. I think it's one of the best starts to any series, along with Series 3. I think that's, I'll just say about that. I mean, Series 1 was off to a very good start as well. 2, if you discount New Earth, was definitely off to a very strong start. 10 and 11 actually also get off to very good starts as well, and I would say 12 is where we took out Orphan 55. As a classic series, well, would be here all day if I was trying to calculate that, so I'll just leave it with a new series for now. But Series 4 could be 3 and 4 at least, could be the best starters of new series at least. And I think 4 is slightly wound up Series 3. And I haven't rewatched the next story at time recording this review just yet. But pre-rewatch thoughts on the next story, I think we're going to one-up Series 3 once again. I'm predicting we're going to one-up Series 3 again with the next Helen Rayner 2-part story. This time with another classic Doctor Who monsters. Not the Daleks this time. The Sontarans will return in the next story. And I think the Sontaran stratagem and the Poison Sky will one-up Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. At least one-up. So, yeah, I think Series 4 will continue to one-up Series 3 for the most part. Maybe not the entire series, but certainly these next 2 episodes, as well as these first 3 ones. Well, okay, 2 of the first 3. So anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for the Sontaran Stratagem and the Poison Sky. The Sontarans are back for the first time since 1985. Woo! I'll see you guys then. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Just people just getting upset for no reason. And there's even a mention in the DVD booklet about the mention in the Ood Spear in and there's even a mention of the. But anyway, so Planet of the. But they just. there. Anyways, me. Anyways, yeah, it's alright, don't worry. Series is 10. It's alright, don't worry. So yeah, but anyway, don't know what why the BB, some of them, yeah, but the other half. Anyway. So yeah, some really great stuff. Yeah, the doc. Not to go so far as say that the show's communist or not to say that the depending on what the writer wants to what story the writer wants to tell, it can criticize whatever, and similarly it can also not promote. What's the positive side of criticism? Endorse, especially after not having much to do in. Well, they did have quite a classic and new series. I mean, yeah, I did. And even those two I've mentioned just now, it was still pretty greatly directed. Well, 42 in Time, and even 42 in Time Crash was still pretty greatly directed. And that's what's relevant. And I'm so happy that it's probably the best start of any new series, and might be one of the best starts of. Yeah, that's all I can say. I mean, 10 gets off to a great start as well. Actually, 10 gets off to a very good start. I love it. Same for 11, actually. I would. But yeah, anyway, and the great and it's gonna and even without